We're afraid of what people will think, or we're afraid we're not good enough, or we're afraid we're too much. And so we hold ourselves back. And when we do that, we're muting ourselves. And there are too many people that are muting themselves in the world. And I, for so many years, was one of them. I've discovered the power of unmuting myself, of showing up in the world in a way that is joyfully expressed and boldly alive. That's something that has been so important to me as I've discovered how freeing it is to be unmuted, to unmute our body and to unmute our ideas and to unmute our desires, to unmute ourselves in relationships and at work, and to be our own advocates and to ask for what we want and need. The unmuted life is a life that is fully alive and fully expressed and confident and clear. And to me, it's the only way that I know how to live now. I know what it's like to feel confined and stuck and small and silenced. And I also know what it feels like to be expressed and alive and joyful and present and seen. And it's so much better of a life to be unmuted. And that is what I want to bring you into. Are you ready to unmute yourself? Let's make it happen. Oh my gosh, you guys. Welcome. I'm so excited. How awesome was that video? I'm so glad you're here. I've got to give a major shout out to a couple of people. To Daniel Hall, who created that like masterpiece of a video. Is that amazing? Like so talented. So shout out to Daniel Hall. Shout out to Annette McDonald, who did the Unmute Yourself, Let It Shine logo. Shout out to Tim Sohn, my producer extraordinaire, who is just, like, I could not do any of this without Tim. He's just so brilliant and so patient and so kind. I'm beyond. I think you can probably sense my excitement right now. I'm so excited to be doing this. And like these things happen, like anything that's really like great like this, that is like a dream that we have. I don't know of any major dream I've had that has ever happened with like just my own effort. Like there's always somebody else that is helping, or a team of people that are helping to make it happen. So I just want to say yay, and thank you all. So give some love to those folks. What'd you think of the video? I'd love to know. Good. Glad that you liked it. I just wanted to communicate, like for me, what it is to be unmuted. So for those who may not know me, I'm Rachel Druckenmiller, and I'm the founder and CEO of Unmuted. I left a 13-year career in corporate in 2019 to launch my own business and be an entrepreneur, which was a dream of mine since my parents are both entrepreneurs. And so now what I do is I'm a keynote speaker and a leadership trainer and a workshop facilitator. And I work with leaders and organizations and their teams, and I help them to be more resilient and more connected and more engaged, and to help them thrive so they can better navigate like these crazy, changing and uncertain times that we're in. So I love what I do. And I have been wanting to do this kind of thing for a while. I know that some of you are already subscribing to a newsletter that I have. If this message of unmuting yourself, of showing up fully expressed and boldly alive is something that aligns with you, I've got a newsletter that I post on LinkedIn every other week that I started in November, and already over 7,500 people have subscribed, which is so amazing. And I'm so grateful for that. And so if you've subscribed, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't, the link has been dropped into the comments, and feel free to just click the blue subscribe button, because I'd love to have you as part of that community. So today's show is going to be awesome. Like you're going to walk away feeling jazzed and energized and inspired. I'm so excited about my guest today, and honored, like beyond honored, to have him here. He is somebody who invited me to be on his award-winning LinkedIn live shows multiple times. throughout the past year and change, seeing the playful way that he shows up and the kindness with which he shows up and the way that he just celebrates and elevates other people always made me feel comfortable. It always made me feel safe. It always made me feel at home and like I could just be myself. And I think when we're around people who make us feel that way, like the best of who we are shows up. The best of who we are shows up. And so he's somebody who does that for so many people, myself included. So I just want to give you a little bit of background about this amazing human being. So first of all, he's been on LinkedIn every day for almost 2 decades, which is like unreal. And everything that he shares, whether he's doing his Shout Out Saturday show or What's Good Wednesday show, he is just a source of kindness and goodness and light. I wanted to just share a little bit more in terms of kind of like, a little bit more about his background and who he is, so you can kind of have, a better sense of who you're about to learn from. He's a 3 times best-selling author, international keynote speaker, known as the godfather and pioneer of LinkedIn video. What? One of the world's premier live streaming and video marketing experts, whose insights have been featured on NASDAQ, Roku, and a #1 best-selling live streaming book. He has over 20 years of proven digital marketing experience, strategizing with Fortune 500 brands across the globe. And check this out, guys. He's been recognized as a LinkedIn top voice, LinkedIn Video Creator of the Year, one of the top 50 most impactful people of LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Global of the Year for several years running. Like, he's awesome. And we're going to have such a fun conversation. So with that, I want to introduce to you, from Voice Your Vibe, Mr. Brian Schulman. So if y'all could just give a warm...
Hey, Joe!
Everybody give a warm welcome to Mr. Brian Schulman.
It's your very first LinkedIn live show. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. So this is the happy dance. This is the happy dance.
Rachel's happy dance.
Nancy Barrows and Brian Schulman and Tim Stone know all about the happy dance. We're going to turn this into a GIF. This is when I get really excited, what I would do on his show, and I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Oh my God, it's the most amazing thing ever.
Oh my gosh. And then if you like do the dance, you're like, I didn't even know I did the dance. Like,
yes.
This is
it was like Tim, when Tim did the Tim, because we do social distancing on the show, and this is how Tim dances. And I'm like, it's the Tim. And now the Tim is everywhere.
That's hilarious. It's just like, truly, Brian, like you, I mean, I meant every word I just said. Like, you are somebody who creates not only safe spaces, but inviting spaces for people to explore and to be heard and truly to be celebrated and elevated. Like, I absolutely mean every word of that, and think you're just a wonderful human being.
I love you.
This, right? And there's hearts all over, right? That's a thing too.
Everywhere.
Hearts everywhere.
Yes.
So like, we're going to have, we're going to get to know you. I feel like I'm going to learn things about you that I didn't already know in this conversation today. We're going to talk about ways that you've unmuted yourself. And you have such an inspiring story. Before I get into a little bit of that, I'm curious, what has been, like, when I think of unmuting ourselves, I think of it as feeling like energized and alive. So I'm curious, like, what has been really energizing you lately or making you feel alive?
Honestly, like doing this, showing up, creating a space for others to show up is such a incredible high, a gift, a heart swelling feeling. It's amazing. I mean, it truly is amazing. And I think the biggest reason is just because the impact, right?
Yeah.
When you hear from someone, you see someone's face, somebody comes on the show, and you just feel all those vibes, and it's amazing. And they needed that, and what a incredible gift, like, to give and to receive. Yeah. It's what I love. It's what I love.
Well, you're amazing at it. Community builder. And I'm curious, I forget, I know you told me before, how many LinkedIn live shows have you hosted? Like, it's some absurd number.
Yeah. So it'll be 197 episodes of each show. So almost 400 episodes, which is 400. Well, it's not really 400 weeks, but I don't math very well. Everyone knows. So basically 100, almost 200 episodes of each show respectively, and each show every week for, I guess it's 200 weeks.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I don't math well, but it's a long time if you think about it. And yeah, I mean, again, it's, you know, we'll talk more about the shows, but they have nothing to do with me and everything to do with all of you.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like starting off, I want to do something. I do this a lot. Great vibes on a Monday afternoon. Yes, Zach, we're glad that you're here with us. My brother's name is Zach. Side note.
Right on. Shout out to Zach.
It's a good name. Shout out to Zach Bryant.
Yes, Travis.
Right. Travis is on it.
That's
Travis creates space for others too. Travis is a
yes, he does.
Oh, Laura, you got to check out Saturdays. You got to like, if you're not already following Brian, first of all, follow Brian and check out Shout Out Saturday show. I mean, it's just like, it's more fun than a barrel of monkeys, like this thing.
Oh my gosh, do you remember the barrel of monkeys? You connect them all and like they were fun for days.
They were fun for days. They were so fun. Speaking of fun, one of the things that I like to do, so I do a lot of like virtual workshops. I've done, I don't know, close to 300 at this point since COVID started, you know.
Yes.
We've got to find ways to change and adapt. So what I want to invite you to do is I want to invite you to do a little scavenger hunt and find something like in your immediate space, something that makes you laugh or smile. And then I want to invite you to bring it up and tell us about it. So grab something somewhat near you, like.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right. I'm grabbing something that makes me laugh. And what was it? The other one?
Or smile. Something that makes you laugh or smile.
I'm pulling Rachel Druckenmiller to this side of the screen right now. I am literally pulling her because your laugh is infectious. Your happy dance is infectious. What you do, your voice, your gift, your heart, like it's you. I'm pulling you. That's what I'm pulling. Literally. And it'll take me forever to get you over here from where you are to me. So, but seriously, like you.
Oh, well, thank you for that. That's like, it's a feeling is mutual. You know this.
Yeah.
And I want to share something super cool. You know, sometimes when someone does something totally unexpected and like, it just makes you smile because it's so kind. Like it's so out of the way. And I think that's another way we can unmute ourselves, by the way, is by like doing things that are kind for other people and letting people know what they mean to us. Yeah. Like a text message, an audio message, a phone call, snail mail. Like this is one of the ways we can unmute ourselves is by letting people know the goodness we see in them and that we appreciate them.
Yes.
Right? Like
absolutely.
And so there's a woman named Amanda Crowell who I met through a speaking training I went through 3 years ago. And she found out I had gotten a recognition through Forbes as one of their next 1,000 like entrepreneur.
Hit that clap button, whoever's doing it. You were to hit the button because that's incredible.
Oh, this one, the clap button, yeah.
Yes, Rachel Druckenmiller.
So like, here's the crazy thing. Amanda and I haven't really probably talked to each other in like 2.5 years, but she saw that post. I don't know if it was on Instagram or on LinkedIn. And then she was like, what's your mailing address? And I was like, I sent it to her. Dude, she sends me this in the mail.
Oh my gosh, how amazing is that?
She painted this herself. So
wow.
Like she goes, I'm a novice painter. I'm like, this is novice. You don't want to see what my peacock would look like.
It would look beautiful because you made it.
It would look like a 4-year-old drew it, but like
exactly, it would be beautiful because you made it.
Well, thank you. But like just so talented, you know, and so kind. And so I'm like framing that, like who does that? Like how amazingly kind.
Right, Travis? It's epic, right? By the way, you just said something I think is really important. You'd be like, I draw it like a 4-year-old. Yeah. You do realize that our most creative juices come from the inner child in all of us. Like, so don't knock the 4-year-old inside of you for what that would look like, because it would be absolutely incredible. But that peacock is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, like, so I'm curious then, that's like that kind of makes me think of something to ask you is like, what was so growing up, I did like doing stuff in art. Singing was my thing I loved the most, right? Like I loved singing. I loved writing poems and stories. I have a story I wrote called The Dare by Rachel Bryant, age 9, that is in my basement on pink paper. Maybe that'll make its way to the light of day at some point, but not so sure. what was so tell us a little bit more about like Brian as a kid. First of all, like what were you like as a kid? And what was your favorite form of creative expression? Curious.
That's a good question. Okay. So I think, so just a little backstory, right? I was a pound and a half miracle baby in the 70s that wasn't supposed to live. Was 3 months premature. They weren't really ready for a baby that size then. Very thick walled incubator, wires all attached to me. Breathing, not breathing. Truly, I mean, I literally was just this, all of me was this big. And so I was literally fighting for every breath just to make it into the world. And then was gifted with a neurological disorder called Tourette's syndrome, which are uncontrollable tics and twitches. And usually you don't know you're doing them either. So for those that don't know what Tourette's are, as examples, I was like flicking my neck to the side repeatedly, which was really painful, flicking my wrists. I had facial expressions, auditory noises, noises that I would make, different noises as well. And a lot of times they were jumping up and down, somersaulting from room to room. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably a 7. A 10 would be like vulgarity and violence. And again, these are uncontrollable and you don't know you're doing them, okay? There's no cure for Tourette's. There's medicine, different types of medicine you can take to as calming mechanisms. Now, when I say that, and again, this was back in the 80s when I finally got diagnosed after going to doctor, and all of them saying, no, he's fine, he'll grow out of it. Because they didn't have an answer. And so my mom was like, you know, the hell you say? I'm going to find an answer and a name and a solution, right? So we wind up going to UCLA, which is where I got diagnosed. And they gave it a name, and it was really early then. And they gave me a drug called clonidine, which it's a suppressor of sorts. The side effects were horrible, though. I mean, I literally was falling asleep in class. Because it wasn't like I was telling people about this yet, right? I was the weird and different kid. I was the kid that was picked last, if at all. I was the one that was made fun of and bullied. I dealt with a lot of adversity growing up, and it was hard. It was hard. I had to learn in different ways as well, because capturing things in my mind was like a pinball machine. I mean, I was like a squirrel and a pinball machine together. It didn't mix. And so like I would have tutors, and my teachers would spend more time with me, and my mom would spend a lot of time with me, learning in ways that just were different, because I needed to capture it differently than just look. I couldn't read a book. I just couldn't capture all that, right? So I'm sharing all this with you as backstory because growing up, it was very different for me. I had a lot of love around me, but it was challenging, to say the least. And so once I got diagnosed, I kind of mustered up the bravery and courage. I want to say it was 5th or 6th grade, to stand up in front of my class and my teachers and whatever parents were there and say, here is this thing that I have, and it's not contagious, because, you know, kids always think you're going to get cooties no matter what it is. And so, you know, I think I was relieved and like a sigh of relief, but at the same time, being able to put a name to something and let people know. But still, you know, it didn't stop things from happening, didn't stop experiences from happening. However, I did wind up with people that had a better sense of understanding. I mean, even friends would, you know, tongue in cheek make fun of me or whatever, and it was okay. But it brings us to your question, which is, you know, those things. So I had I took the medication for a number of years, and then I grew up Jewish by faith, and right before I got bar mitzvahed, apparently, and my mom reminds me of these things I had said to her, I don't want to take these drugs anymore. I'd rather deal with the Tourette's than deal with the side effects. And like any wonderful parent, she said, okay, are you sure? There's a lot of people here to support you and here. And I said, they all know who I am. They're here with me, and I'll be okay. And I never took any drugs again. And I found 3 natural calming mechanisms. which gets us to your point, which is music, dancing, and comedy.
Mm.
Now, I've been a musician my entire life. I can pretty much play any instrument, pick it up, play, but all by ear. I did learn how to read because I needed to for school, but it was really hard. It was like in one ear, there for a second, and out the other. And, but music, like I'd sit in front of the dark for hours just in the piano, just playing. And I it was like I was in another body. It was a very Zen state. I was not in my Tourette's twitchy self body. I was in a very serene kind of place. And so I piano, bass, little bit of guitar. I mean, the winds were the only thing I didn't learn how to play. And my grandfather was a jazz musician, originally out of Chicago and the Chicago books. And then he was a studio musician in LA and a teacher, and he'd go to schools and he'd teach kids about music. I went, like I saw him. It was amazing. And unfortunately, he's passed for many years now. But my son picked up the winds, and he's a jazz musician and started in middle school, actually in 5th grade and in middle school, and played in jazz band and in high school and took it with him, took his trumpet with him to Princeton, which he's now a freshman at. And so music is an incredible gift for me. I was in a band. I did play at the Whiskey in LA, if you know the club, the Whiskey guys. We were in the studio getting ready to record. This was pre-kids. And then everybody knows being a dad is the most incredible gift in the world to me. And that meant more to me than anything because family is everything. So, but music has always been an incredible part of my life. So that's the music part. The second was dancing. Dancing, and interestingly enough, I do have a degree in psychology. I did get it because I wanted to better understand people. I wanted to better understand myself because I didn't understand either, especially after what I had been through growing up. And so I was able to put names to things that I already knew, but get a deeper understanding, right? And look at people very differently. As everybody knows, I am all about people. I love building community. I love bringing people together, and it's because of the experiences that I had. About high school, my mind started to shift, and it was this like, no, you know what? I don't ever want anyone to feel the way I felt. I don't want ever want anyone to be treated the way I was treated. I want them to feel the way I would have wanted to feel. I was the little kid at the window waiting for my friend to come over like a puppy, like excited beyond belief, because it just wasn't one of those things that happened all the time, or when I got to go to a friend's house, it was like, it meant so much to me. These things meant so much to me. And so bringing people together, Jesse, that's amazing. That's amazing. My grandfather actually played. He did serve as well. And I have pictures of him when he served and playing as well. It's amazing.
Wow.
So dancing, when I say psychology, I bring it up just because I'll circle it back around to the psychological aspect of each of these. But dancing was one of those things that my mom basically was like, hey, hi, Majida. She's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to dance. All the girls are going to love you. You're going to thank me for it. And she was right, because boys don't dance. It's weird. Girls love to dance. Boys don't dance. And I loved dancing. It was fun for me. And again, it allowed me to continue that movement that I already was doing walking down the street, but doing it around other people that were doing it too. So I'll explain that in a second. And then comedy, I got made fun of a lot. And hang on a minute. My best friend's son, Pans, what a cool name, has Tourette's and is 14. Music is one practice that calms all of his symptoms. Drums, piano, strings. Absolutely, Kate. And by the way, I've met many dear friends of mine on LinkedIn, believe it or not, that have Tourette's. My Twitch bro, Jake Melton, who I got introduced to by my other buddy, Jake Jordan, and we got to meet in person in Texas, actually the weekend I launched my company, which my dear friend Lila Smith, she threw me a launch party when I launched my company. We'll talk about that. But anyway, comedy, I just figured, okay, I loved comedians, but I loved physical comedians Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Sam Kinison, the young Jim Carrey, you name it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the Three Stooges, you know, and I would watch all of these comedians, not realizing why I love them so much. So now if you loop all these together, what I figured was if people are going to make fun of me, if they're going to laugh at me, I want it to be on my own terms.
Yeah.
So let's circle back on these psychologically. Music is an incredible gift, right? It hits you in so many different ways, and I didn't realize the impact it was having on me, and in turn would have on others. Dancing, you're in a sea of people, not now because we're in COVID, but you have a sea of people, right? We're dancing, we're in the club, you're flaring your arms, you're making noise, you're whoop whoop, right? All the things, and that's what I was walking down the street in a sea of people that were normal. Well, maybe I felt normal in a sea of people that felt weird in those moments, right?
Yeah.
But it allowed me to be me and blend in, because I didn't want to stand out. I just wanted to blend in. And so, and then comedy, you know, like I said, these physical comedians, I didn't realize that I could relate to them and I loved them because we were alike. They were doing things that were part of their shtick, but that was just part of me that I didn't realize was a part of me. I knew it because my mom would, you know, let me know. I remember coming home from school or camp and crying again, and I'm like, why does nobody like me, and why does everybody keep making fun of me? And she took me into the bathroom. She had this big mirror, and we sat down, and she said, I want you to see something. I said, okay. And she did every tick and twitch that I had going on at the time. They were like 4 or 5 or whatever. And she said, all right, I want you to let it rip. Whatever you got in you, just let it out. Because I would, while it's uncontrollable and you're not aware of it, I was semi-aware of, because the pains of some of these twitches, I could feel that. You know, I could feel that. And wow, Daniel. Thank you for sharing. It was a moment, right? I mean, my mom would want to help create a sense of awareness. You know, the number of nights she went to sleep crying. Could you imagine being a parent? Like I have trouble imagining. I mean, as a parent, I can only imagine, right? I mean, your child comes into the world, maybe not breathing, not breathing. You don't know if kid's going to live. That's number one, right? And then what you have to grow through with this premature baby, right? And then throw a neurological disorder on top of it. Like, it's like, come on. I mean, talk about a fight from the beginning, right? So music, comedy, dancing are loves of mine, which ironically, and I didn't realize it until not too long ago, all of those things were naturally weaved into the shows during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it. And was like, wow, like just wow.
Wow.
So hopefully that answered your question. It was a little long answer, but
Dude. Hey, the show's called Unmute Yourself. Whenever people apologize to me for talking so long, I gotta be like, okay, hold on, let me pause a second.
Yeah.
Let me introduce myself and what I'm about.
And I just want to say, everyone that is joining us today in the comments, like, you guys are incredible. Your comments are amazing. So appreciate all of the love. And we see every single one of you.
Yes. And like, for sharing your stories here too, like and to recognize all of us, I think we all walk around wondering if we're the only one that doesn't feel like we fit in.
So true.
You know, and it's so interesting what you shared, how you've taken something that was a source of pain for you and you've used it to find ways to be inclusive of other people.
Yeah, it took a long time, Rachel. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was hard because, again, I had a very, I wasn't mad at people. I didn't understand. And it was really hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, I think in life we realize there's a great quote by Rocky, you know, and it's in, I can't remember what, fourth movie.
Mhm.
Fourth, I think his fourth one. No, it may not. But anyway, his son is all grown up. They're in the middle of the street down from his restaurant, and his kid's getting upset because his dad, who's 50 something, is about to get back in the ring again, and he's embarrassed by his dad. And he's never had any ability to live his own life because he's been in his dad's shadow. And he's like, doesn't it embarrass you that people are talking about you this way? Doesn't it make you angry? And he's like, you were this big. When you were this big, I told your mother this kid's going to be somebody, and he's going to grow up and he's going to do great and all those things. And he said, somewhere around along the way, you something happened,
Mhm.
and the point that he makes is, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward.
Mhm.
And I think about that, and I think about my life, and I think about all the hits that I've taken. So
Mhm.
many hits throughout my entire life. But every single one of those hits has made me better
Yeah.
because it has helped me grow in ways that I never knew, especially in the moments until I look back afterwards in reflection, and has been able to help me help others too, to think about things in different ways.
Yes. Yeah, I think of when you're sharing that, I think of the Chumbawamba song, like, I get knocked down, but I get up
Yes.
again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, right? Like it's
Oh my
come
gosh.
on, keep knocking me down. Like I'm gonna get back up, and it's like
Yes.
it's not how many when you get knocked down, right? It's a choice to give up or to rise up. You get knocked down, give up, rise up. Like it's a choice. And sometimes you might have a moment of giving up. And sometimes
Yes.
you might give up, and it's in those moments where we need often to lean on other people to help like pull us up when we're like, I don't have it in me. And then we get to really lean on other people and get to feel and feed off of their strength.
Yeah, well, see, that's a great point too, Rachel, because if you think about the last 2 years, we have been growing through together in ways we never thought. And I say growing because we have grown, all of us have grown in so many ways, so many miraculous ways, you guys, through all the pain, through all the hurt, through all the death, there's a silver lining through all of it.
Mhm.
And it has brought us together in ways we never could have imagined. And we've been able to come together and lift one another up and rise again, I say, in ways that you may not even realize yet.
Mhm.
Community is such a powerful thing, and the impact that we have on one another just by showing up. I mean, look at today.
Mhm.
You were here, Rachel. You were here, and you're showing up in your very first episode of your very first show, and you've been wanting to do this for a year, and you took the leap, and just you're doing it right, and showing up has so much impact in ways that we just don't think about.
Yeah.
It's a gift. It really is a gift, and the gift of technology for all of us in these last couple of years has really, man, the stories
Mhm.
are unbelievable, and it isn't just about like live streaming, it's showing up in so many different ways. You're getting on Zoom chats with people, or sending someone a DM, or sending someone a message, or creating a space so people can show up and just be. We've had so many moments together, crying and laughing and dancing and singing, and that have helped us be,
Yeah.
in times that we didn't know if we could,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. It's we don't know until we go through it. And I love Bernadette. We're so glad you fell down this rabbit hole with us. We're so glad. And it's like when we share these stories too, when we share, I think one of the things people have realized, I hope, and again, this is my hope shirt today. I stand for bringing hope into the world. And I know that you do too. Is that when we show up and we share the things that we're struggling with and we're honest about it, and we're doing it in service to the people that are around us, not in service to our own ego. Like there's a big difference when someone comes out and shares their stuff just to sort of like spew that on people, and there's like the goal isn't to, and they're still working through that and like doing therapy on LinkedIn. It's like I'm an advocate for getting therapy to process stuff. I see a therapist every Saturday. Like I mean, I think it's caring for our mental health is so important.
It is. And by the way, like, therapy happens in so many different ways. I went to a therapist growing up for years.
It does.
Honestly, it didn't stick for me.
Yeah.
It was not. I needed my mom.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul. I needed my mom, and I got my mom, and my mom is my genuine hero. Like, I couldn't, there are not enough words, there's not enough breath in my lungs to explain the gratitude in my heart that I have for this woman. Everything that she's been through, everything. I mean, I am the man I am today because of her.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's again, it's a gift, but hope is so powerful, and therapy happens in so many ways. And what you said is so incredibly powerful. Oops. What you said is, sorry, filter change. What you said is so powerful. Is and Rachel, like, our live shows, Nancy, Deborah, and I, who's in the comments, like, what we do in these shows, the way we show up for you guys, you showing up for us means more than you know. And I don't mean that because of the numbers and the likes and the comments. It's got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with your hearts. Because as I always say, it's the heart of it all that matters, and you showing up and being you in your hearts. I mean, we have so many friends that have come on the shows and they've just started bawling because they were feeling in the moment of whatever was going on in their world. And it was like, everything would stop. We would just stop everything and let them feel and be. And the thing about that, when I talk about therapy, is you shared, and hope is that it gives everyone else permission to know that they can do the same. Think about, I mean, gosh, everybody that's watching right now, I guarantee you have had so many moments during this pandemic where you just are sitting there and you're just pushing it down, and you're pushing it down, and you're like, no, I can't let this out because I don't want to feel weak, or I don't want to, if I let it out, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to stop. And, but it's such a powerful thing to let those emotions flow and to be in that moment, because you need it.
Yes.
You need it so much more than you can imagine. And when you talk about my showing up on LinkedIn every day for almost two decades, it was never about me. My why is to inspire one person a day. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. That long ago, there was no way to do it. It was just a digital resume and a place to look for a job, and you could search. There was no way to communicate. There was no DMs. There was no posting. There was no commenting. Each one of those things happened in its own kind of way. And I experienced all of that. And it just kind of, the mechanisms allowed me to be and allowed me to show up. And, you talk about hope, hearing from people, Rachel, and I don't talk about this a lot because it's not about that. I'm not a fan of exploiting that stuff. But every now and then I'll share these things just so people understand the importance of showing up and realizing that if you don't see from anyone, if you don't see anyone, if you don't hear from anyone, that doesn't mean people aren't seeing and hearing you and your message and what you're sharing.
Yes.
It's being consumed. It's always being consumed. But just know that by being you and showing up and realizing that every single one of you has a voice and a story that matters, and a voice and story that can positively affect, impact, and inspire another human being's life by showing up and being you. And it took me so long to realize this personally, because I didn't think I had a voice, and I didn't think I had a story, let alone would I ever want to talk about it, because all I wanted to do was blend in. I didn't want to stand out. And when I finally realized, I mean, it wasn't until my very first video on LinkedIn over 1,500 videos ago, and I don't remember how many years now, but that I had shared my story for the first time, and I was inspired by other creators that shared their story and their hearts and so much of their hearts. And it seen anything like this before on the platform. And it just inspired me to want to do the same. Granted, it took me 5 months to muster up the bravery and courage to do it. But I did it, and I knew I wanted that story to be the first that I would tell. And I did, and I was terrified
Mm-hmm.
because nobody knew this. Nobody in business. Nobody. It wasn't something I shared. It wasn't something I talked about because, again, I didn't look at being weird and different as a good thing.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't look at that way. It was negative. You know, I didn't want to earn anything because I was different and weird and disabled. And, you know, again, this was what was going through my head. This is what I was telling myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet when I posted that first video, all the love and support and encouragement, which are not words you ever expect you would hear on LinkedIn, all the love and support and encouragement that I got, it changed my life, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said LinkedIn has changed my life so many times. And that moment literally changed my life because I didn't look at myself as weird and different anymore.
Yeah.
And I realized by sharing my story that the way you didn't have to have Tourette's, you didn't have to be a preemie, you didn't have to grow up with the adversity that I did. It was more, you felt it, and whatever you grew through and whatever challenges you had, it was like you were going, yeah, okay, if you can, I can,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that you're not alone. And that was what I felt, is I wasn't alone.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a gift.
Mm.
It was a gift. And people were asking me to share the story again and again. like slide podcasts and all those things. And I'm like, I don't, why? I just did it here. Like I'm like, I just recorded it here. You can watch the video. It wasn't making sense to me. I'm like, why would somebody want me to say it again? I already did. And a friend related back to me and just said, well, okay, you grew up in LA. I said, yeah. They're like, okay, well, think about movie premieres, you know, or something comes out. They always do, you know, they do cycles. They go on shows, radio shows, TV shows, late night shows, whatever. And they're all saying pretty much the same thing, but not everybody's watching the same thing or listening to the same thing at the same time, unless you're a, you know, big fan, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. I get that. And so I'd continue to share it and share it and share it and get more comfortable being uncomfortable doing that. And neither are you, Denise. And guys, all your comments are absolutely incredible. And thank you so much for sharing you and your hearts. And again, Rachel, it helped me get comfortable being comfortable in my skin and the whole video thing. I just want people to understand, and I share the story with you in background because most of us only hear the accolades and see the right now. You don't hear the struggles that it takes to get there. You don't hear the challenges that people go through and or went through. And I just want you to realize that I didn't find myself until much later in life. You know, I had never gotten on video before. I didn't even know there were apps that existed. I was so green, all of that. I had to learn everything. I spent thousands and thousands of hours getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, learning how to grow in ways I never thought were possible, quitting so many times and getting up and doing it again. I mean, if I had kept all the outtakes of the videos that I made when LinkedIn Video launched in beta, I literally would have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's most important is to remember that it's you that we relate to. It's you that we feel. It's your heart that comes out. It's not about business. You know, it's crazy. You know, you talk about Forbes. I remember when Miguel Forbes, the founder and chairman of Forbes, he came on LinkedIn and he got slammed, inundated, like, you know, and welcomed a bunch of us creators because we're all pioneers of LinkedIn Video. The group of us, if you will, because it wasn't a huge group, had come together, and my friend Goldie Chan spearheaded it and put this like video together. It was like, you know, here's some top tips to, you know, making videos on LinkedIn. And Goldie put it together. We all sent her videos and she sent in. Anyway, I connected with him, and which was really nice. And he had done a post, and his post was, well, I'm back. LinkedIn didn't validate that it was me. They thought I was a bot or something else. And so he left the platform. And then he came back and he said, the reason I came back was because of, you know, incredible creators who make this platform what it is. And my name was one of the names that he mentioned. And I'm sitting here going, I don't understand. My videos have nothing to do with business. I just show up. I'm just me. I talk about or share things. It's all about fun. And I love collaborating with people. I was one of the first people to collaborate on the platform and bring people together. And I love that because I love bringing people together because incredible things happen when we come together. And I just, it kind of was like, okay, so I can just be me. I can just do my thing and I can bring people together and make fun videos. And that's impacting people.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
I'll be quiet now because I've bogarted the entire show.
Dude, I'm going to remind you every time. So for the future reference, anybody else who comes on the show, if you apologize for talking, I'm going to kindly reprimand you. And just say, I'll do it yourself. Like, Brian, a couple things I want to point out that you shared. One, there's a quote from Maya Angelou that comes up for me that I don't know if I'm going to botch it a little, but it's something like, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. Mm. And I think so much healing, we were talking about how like healing can come in so many different ways, and healing comes primarily through our connection with other people and through experiences of feeling seen and heard and known and affirmed and validated and listened to. Like that's where the greatest healing comes from. And that experience can happen with anybody. To your point, like it can happen with anybody, but healing ultimately happens in connection with other people. And
so much.
And sometimes it's scary. Like if we're people that have been, marginalized in some way, or we felt excluded, or we feel like we didn't belong, or we didn't fit in, we carry that narrative.
Yes.
Like, I did too. I carried that narrative for a long time. And I remember my friend Tori Butler, the Reverend Dr. Tori Butler, to be exact. My phone always corrects me when I just say, call Tori. It's like, call the Reverend Doctor. I'm like, oh, okay, I will not diminish her credentials. Okay, Siri, sorry. But I remember it was like 5 years ago, and I had asked a bunch of people to come out for my birthday, and I went to Catholic school for 12 years, wasn't Catholic, was excluded from like all the ceremonies and rituals. So I always, felt different and felt kind of left out. And like, I didn't really know how to fit with these folks that I was, didn't feel necessarily the same as. And I remember one of the narratives, I wouldn't be invited to birthday parties, or everyone in the class, all 27 kids, would get a Christmas card or a Valentine. And I was like the only one that didn't get one.
Yes.
And I know this because I have journals from elementary school that I wrote this stuff down in. And I carried that narrative with me for like a really long time. Like sometimes we hold on to things that maybe weren't even true at one point. It was our interpretation of what was happening.
Yes.
And then we embed it in ourselves. And then we just like decide that is reality, and we don't ever question or challenge it. And I was saying to Tori, there were like maybe two other people there, and I was feeling sorry for myself that like more people didn't come to my birthday party, and my lunch that I planned at the very last minute. And she was like, I'm going to have to stop you. She goes, first of all, how long have we been friends? I was like, I don't know, like 17 years. She goes, okay. And then she starts naming this person. She's like, you need to stop saying that you don't have friends and that people don't want to be your friend. You need to stop saying that because it's not true. And I was like, called out. Like, but in the best way. Like sometimes we need people in our lives who will call out some of the nonsense that we believe that is not true, that holds us back. Like we have this belief, I look stupid on camera. I don't know what to say.
Amen.
I don't have anything of value. Everything's already been said. I'm redundant. I'm obsolete. Like story.
Every single client I've ever had, every single thing you just said and anything else you could possibly imagine would come out of your head. Every single person.
Yeah.
And I can so relate to that because I did that too. And honestly, I still do that. Like,
yeah.
and likewise, I have friends in my life that call me out on that and say, no, Chayton, that's not who you are. You are not that person. No. What you have thought is not real. You've just made it out to be real in your head, and it's not.
Yes.
And so, yes, changing the narrative, Nancy Deborah. Yes. It's a gift, but I think, and it's so relevant, this show is called Unmute Yourself and Let It Shine. And I love it so much. And shout out to Daniel Hall for the absolutely incredible intro video. It is it is amazeball. It's
Literally.
amazing, literally amazing. But I you know, I think the important thing I want to tie a knot on too with this is Anthony.
Yay! Hey, dude.
Yes, man, love you. We do. We need that reality check. And I just want you to know that everybody that's with us is that you can.
Mhm.
If you don't think you can, you can. You just have to take one step. That's
Yes.
it. One step. It's really easy to compare ourselves to everyone, no matter what it is you're doing. You're an entrepreneur, you're a creator, you work at a company. Again, it's really easy to just look at everybody else and you just spew all that negative out at yourself.
Yeah.
No, I can't be like Rachel. No, I can't do what Brian did. Look, we all start from the same place, the beginning. We're
Yes.
just at different points in our journey. Different points of our journey. And I never thought I would have a swag line. I never thought I would start my own company. I never thought, the list goes on and on. I never thought I would get in front of the camera. I never thought I would be a pioneer of live streaming and of video and all of these things. I never thought I would be a 4-time #1 best-selling author. All of these I nevers.
Yeah.
All start with fear.
Yes.
And just taking the step. Guys, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Anthony, I love you. I love you, brother. What is the worst thing? Yes, you do, man. And I want to see your kiddo too, and turned upside down on your back, like always. The worst thing that happens, is you fall. Right? What is that quote, Rocky? It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
The biggest impacts in your life are the steps that you take. The biggest impacts in your life are those fears that you have where you step anyway. It's not about whether you succeed the way you think you will. Did I get to the mountaintop? It's not about that.
No.
It's the journey that gets you there. It's how many times you get up and keep getting up and keep moving forward.
Yes.
If we all compare ourselves to others, I'd still do it. It just happens. Yes, James. It's easy. It's so easy to do, right? It's so easy to do. But if you just remember, you're not alone, right? And failing is a good thing. Failing is a good thing, guy. Yes, Nancy, fail forward. Fail forward, fail backwards. Look, when you fall, right, sometimes you wind up falling way back this way and you feel like you've got like 8 steps before you get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
You have to realize that falling and failing happens in every direction.
Yes.
But it's not about which direction you're heading. It's just the fact that you keep getting back up, because when you keep getting back up, that is forward.
Yes.
You learn and grow. And if you keep falling in the same place or same direction, realize it's because you haven't learned something yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's something down there you haven't picked up yet. There's something down there that you haven't learned. And yes, Anthony, it is learning in disguise. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
But we don't think that way. So just know that all you have to do is have the courage to take the leap. Know that you just, I don't know if I would have tried live streaming, it wasn't LinkedIn. Yes, absolutely. LinkedIn is a godsend, you guys. LinkedIn, like I said, has changed my life so many times. And it's because of all of you. It's because of the people. Because when I didn't think I can, you were there. Yeah. When I didn't think I could get back up, or I didn't think I could try, or I didn't think I could do anything, you guys were there. And that is an incredible gift. And just remember that where you want to go, it usually doesn't happen the way you want it to and or think it will happen. Mm-hmm. It happens in so many more miraculous ways and so many more gifts that you're given. Yes. So I am grateful for LinkedIn. I am grateful for the gift of video that has given me a voice that I never knew I had, that has more importantly allowed me to help others understand that they have a gift and a voice and a story that they didn't think they had. Not that you have to be like me and go through what I did. That's not what it's about. No. It's your story, your journey, your voice, the impact you have, the gifts of people. Having Nancy Deborah by my side in these shows is absolutely incredible. We balance each other out so much, and we are able to give so much more because of that. and the feeling that we feel and the feeling that you guys feel it's incredible. And it is something that I have such a love for, because of the way you speak about Maya Angelou. Is a quote that I love and I use a lot. And it's, people may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yes.
Showing up and being you makes people feel a certain way. And I have learned that and continue to learn and grow. And it's just, again, it's about showing up, and it's about realizing that the stories that we share can impact people in ways that we never thought about.
Yes.
So be brave and be courageous and share, and know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Just like Rachel Druckenmiller, who's doing her very first live show. You know, she asked me last year if I would be a first guest on her show. She told me she was doing a show, and then said, I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, Rachel, I'm so excited. And then it was like, well, I would love for you to be my first guest. And I'm like, oh my God, Rachel, I would love to be there to support you, because I know this is such a gift, and I know how it feels, and I know all the things that you feel before, and the leading up to, and the happening, and I'm so proud of you, because you are a gift to the world, Rachel. You are such a gift. You are such a gift. You have such an amazing heart. You have such an incredible voice in so many ways. And which is why I ask you to share it so much, because I know the way you feel when you do. And I know the way it makes other people feel when you do. I'm going to say something I said behind the scenes before we started in the green room. I gave Rachel a challenge. I said, Rachel, you need to cut a single this year. I want you need to have a single this year, because it is so much bigger than this. It is so much bigger than you standing up in a room for the very first time when there's all this chaos going on and you just start singing. And you realize the impact that has, and that you had a voice you didn't even realize that you had, and you did that, and you let it shine. You unmuted yourself and you let it shine. And the way you do that, the Christmas special you did, coming on the shows the way you do, sharing your gift with the world, like the world needs more Rachel Druckenmiller. And so you said you were going to do it. We're live, and I'm just putting it out there here because you said I should, and I am. And I love the bravery and courage that you have to do it. And it's not even that, because the reality is you're already doing it. It's just going to be reaching more people. And as I said, I will be here supporting you every step of the way, in any way that I can, because again, you are a gift to the world, and the songs you write from your heart are amazing. Bernadette says, I write songs. It would be awesome if you record. Wow.
Let's connect.
Look at that. Look at that.
Power of community. Hi.
Incredible things happen when people come together. Boom.
Like, just so, gosh, Brian, like what a joy it is to have you sharing all of your wisdom and encouragement. And this is just how you always show up. And there was something that stood out to me that I wanted to bring up. I know we're going to wrap here in just a moment. But there's a quote that I had framed on my wall. I switched it out because Bill got me this new peacock print, which you can sort of see behind me, for Christmas. So I was like, let me change it up. This is what I had there before. I had this there for like 3 years, and it totally, I feel like, captures what we're talking about today. And it's the why blend in, you were born to stand out, with peacock, complete with peacock feathers. Like, you were born to stand out. You were born to be seen. And that doesn't mean you have to be loud. And it doesn't, like, everyone has their own version of like what it looks like to be unmuted. And your version looks different than other people. So don't compare your version of unmuted to other people's. Maybe you're meant to have an audience of 1 or 2, or maybe it's just supposed to be, how do you unmute yourself in your family, or how do you unmute yourself at work, or in your community, or with your friends. And some of you may want to do more in terms of creative expression on LinkedIn, and there's really no qualification than that, other than that you're a human and you have a voice and you have a story and you have something to say and you have things you've been through and experiences and insights, that the combination of which nobody else has. And so that's why the world needs you. And
remember that when you share those stories, that, because I know how uncomfortable it can be to do that and think, well, I don't like talk. I hate talking about myself, by the way. I hate talking about myself. And it's something I'm continuously, but here's how I flip the script in my head for all of you that have the same, because I'm pretty sure all of you feel the same. Remember, it's not about you. You're not sharing the story to boast. You're not sharing the story to brag. You're sharing the story because there's someone out there that needs to hear it. They need to hear your story to know that they're not alone, to know that they can. And
Yes.
that is an amazing gift, which is why I say everyone has a voice in a story and that you matter and that it can positively impact and affect another human being's life just by showing up and being you.
Yes.
So flip the script in your head. Remember, it's not about you. By sharing that, it's so that someone else that needs to hear it can hear it and see it and feel it.
Yes. Dude, like such a perfect way to wrap. I have one more super quick question for you, and we'll ask anyone who's listening, whether you're on Team Replay or Team Live, let us know your answer to this question in the chat because I'm going to be maybe building a little fun thing based on this. But I'm going to end us with a quick snippet of a song. But before I do that, Brian, what is your go-to mood booster, energizer song, or like one of them? Like one of them.
Yeah, like your fight song is one of my former bosses in previous life said. It's like your fight song. You get up in the morning, or you need some of that feel. What's your fight song that you put on? I have so many of them. Eminem has some great ones. If you truly listen to his lyrics,
yes,
really, those will really hit you. But we use a number of them on the shows. And Tim knows, my dear friend and former producer. They're amazing songs. Come to Shout Out Saturday Live. Come to What's Good Wednesday Live. You'll hear some of those. And you'll it's just, again, you feel them. They make you feel good. The intros that we have to our shows, those are feel good with purpose. And they, honestly, I could be in a bad mood before, or just in a down mood before a show. We put that on, and it's like immediately you just. Yes, Lose Yourself, Maureen. What a great song. Yeah, there's so many. Underdog, absolutely. Absolutely, so many. So
many good ones. Yeah, I think of like
yes.
the you gotta lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot, so don't miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Yes, that's it. That's it. What a powerful lyric, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's extremely powerful.
So good. Well, everybody keep them coming. I just want to say before I close with this last little snippet of a song, which is maybe in the show title. I just want to say, Brian, thank you for being the light that you are. Thank you for unmuting yourself in all the ways that you do, for all the ways you make people feel seen and heard and special and celebrated and elevated and to feel like they matter. I'm so honored. Drop in the chat or comments wherever you are. Let us know what was the greatest gift that you got from this experience today. What was how are you feeling now as you're stepping away? Let us know. Our next show is going to be bi-weekly on Mondays. I'm going to have on Monday, February 7th, Miguel Olave, who's amazing and focuses on mental health. And we've become friends through LinkedIn, and he is going to also bring about just an amazing conversation that you're not going to want to miss. So Brian, is there any last thing you want to share before I close us out with that song? Any last things that you want to unmute yourself and say?
I just, I want you to all know that you matter and that you're amazing, and that whatever that thing is inside of you, that you think about doing, or you want to do, or you're scared to do, go do it. Go do it, and reach out to a friend and tell them you want to do it, because I guarantee you that friend is going to be like, you got this. I got you. You're not alone. And just remember, you're never alone, especially on LinkedIn fam. You are never alone. If you feel like you're alone, you come to one of our shows and you will never feel alone again. Amen. And that is what we do here on this platform. That is what we do. We come together, we rise together, and incredible things happen when we come together. So please remember that, because I've gotten in my way so many times and have decided I need to do it myself. I got to get through whatever it is I'm going through myself. I got to do whatever it is I want to do by myself. I'm telling you right now, it never could have.
Community makes it happen.
I would not be where I am right now in my journey without all of you. All of it. I would not be here without you, because you have inspired me and you have helped me know that I can, and that I can get up, and that I can keep going, and that I don't have to do it alone. And I'm so incredibly grateful you guys have been. You'll never know. Again, there's just not enough words and not enough breath in my lungs to share how much you all mean to me. So just thank you for your hearts. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being with me along this journey every step of the way. And thank you for the gift of you and your hearts. It means so much to me. So we've laughed, we've cried, we've sang, well, Rachel sang, all the things that you said were going to happen.
we showed up and we shined in every way.
That's it.
So as we leave for today, we hope that you're feeling energized and inspired and alive and felt as we're walking away. And I always, some of you know this is one of my favorite songs. It's a reminder that each of us has a light to shine. So I'll end us with this, and then we will say adios for now. Just a reminder that no matter how, even if it feels like a flicker, every single one of you has this inside of you. So here we go as we close, as your reminder. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Go let your light shine this week. Be a gift to somebody else. Let them know how awesome they are, how much they matter. As Brian said, all of you matter, and we are so grateful for you being with us today. Thank you for your support. Tag someone who you think could benefit from this message. There will be a replay once we press stop. And thank you again for just showing up and for all of your support. I just feel so grateful. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you on February 7th. Bye, everybody.